Well, I want to say this because I'm a little excited today. I feel like a little girl on Christmas Day. Jamal, so what you're saying, so my dopamine stuff is going on right now. I am excited to be here. 3 teams. These guys, Richard, Aaron, Linda, Jamal, all of you guys that I know from the preteen program, you guys, and Monte in the back, I won't leave you out because I was a teenager. You guys represent family to me. So I do feel like I'm at a big family reunion right now. So forgive me because I am a very, Richard will tell you, I'm an extremely animated speaker. I move and I talk a lot with my hands. That's the Jersey girl in me. But I've lived in Georgia for about 15, 16 years now. So you may hear a little southern twang every now and then. Is that all right?
Yes.
And I may call you guys y'all for a second because they correct me when I would say y'all in Georgia or in the Southeast. I just pretty much want to say first and foremost, thank you guys for doing what you do. This is a heavy task. This is a heavy platform. And I don't really think people understand the magnitude of what it feels like to have to go into situations and not necessarily change a person's mindset so they are not who they are supposed to be, but give them something so that they can blossom and bloom and be true or be their best self. So can you do me a big favor? Just let's loosen up the mood a little bit. Why don't you clap for the person sitting next to you real quick? Just give them a big and just say this to them real quick. Tell them this. Tell them, say thank you very much for your service.
Thank you very much for your service.
That's important. I think that's important. How many of you will agree that sometimes we live in a world where we are in such a thankless world, in a thankless place? If you have the duty of being a parent, you do understand that children don't always say thank you. They sometimes expect us to buy, expect us to give, expect us to do. And so when we're not appreciated and we're not validated in what we do, we can get burned out. How many of you know exactly what I'm talking about? And it doesn't have to be a physical burnout. It doesn't have to be an emotional burnout. Sometimes it is a mental burnout, and the things that we are used to doing in our lives, we don't do anymore because we give up for service, we give up for work, we give up for parenting, we give up for being a mom, a dad, a husband, a wife, whatever. And the reality, and the reason why I'm here today, Richard kind of wanted me to just speak a little bit about, of course, what I do, but also kind of encourage you all and all of us in the room, including myself, because I'm thoroughly charged today after hearing all of these different workshops. I'm like thoroughly charged right now. You don't even understand how charged I am. You can feel it? Yeah, man. I'm ready for these kids tonight. They don't even know what they're walking into tonight. I was about to wear my heels tonight. I don't know. I might put my Adidas on tonight. But I'm from Paterson, New Jersey, born and raised in the city of Paterson, New Jersey. My mom made a decision to have me when she was she got pregnant at 13. She had me at 14. By 15, she had 2 babies. By 18, she had 3. And all of us had different daddies. So I'm a product of my environment. I know very well what it feels like to be in a room with a bunch of students and have them really have that initial disconnect. Because how many of you ever work with kids that don't think that you know what it is you are talking about, and they look at you like, not you, boo. Send somebody else, right? And so we come to work and we do what we do every single day. And I want to say, well, let me just preface by saying this. I've been doing this for 24 years. And the reason why I do this is because this is the thing that I was born to do. And no matter what happens to me, no matter what issues go on in my family, no matter what disagreements my husband and I have, no matter what my financial situation looks like or doesn't look like, no matter how my body feels, any of that, none of that matters when it comes to my purpose and my passion and my position. I've learned to fight through it all, because we all in this room agree that when we see 2017 and how our kids are affected with social media, with songs, videos, and even what they learn at school on the buses with the neighbors' kids, and what they experience in those stayovers at different organizations and extracurricular activities that they do outside of our homes. Y'all get what I'm saying to you? We realize that now more than ever before, we have got to amp up the passion. We've got to amp up the fact that what we're doing to help save lives and help cultivate the sensitive minds. And let me just say this, because y'all know 3rd graders nowadays, they are not like 3rd graders in 1980. You walk in a room with 3rd graders now, you better have every T crossed. They might ask you, how much money do you have saved in your IRA? I had a 3rd grader ask me, well, how do you deem yourself to be successful? Why? Do you have credit? What's your credit score? 3rd graders. I didn't even know what a credit score was in 3rd grade. So they are absolutely more buttoned up now. You know, these students can stand up and give you a 30-second elevator speech. They can tell you exactly where they want to live, where they want to go, how much money they want to make. They can tell you what college they need to go to, what college has their basic field of interest. They know. They know where they want to live, what car they want to drive. They understand, watch this, they understand how money works. They understand how bank accounts work. You know why? Because we give them our debit cards. They understand how life works. But most importantly, they understand everything they talk about in school. They grasp it. They're a conceptual generation. Why? Because everything in school, they have to learn it. And then they have to say, how you learned that. Now tell it back to me, right? Now, why did that happen? They have to begin to walk down the line. So they're very, very smart. But what they lack sometimes is the basic foundation to life that helped us, the core value system, the ethic that most of us in this room hold in our lives, and we walk life. The reason why you do what you do, the reason why you signed up for this, they don't really know what that is, because their generation, where when we grew up, we were so poor, and we gave them everything because we didn't want them to be poor like us. And so now what happens is when we start asking them to do something, they want us to explain why. And you're like, what the? Excuse me. Right. Because I said, you say, because I said so. They come back 5 minutes later and they have notes written down. Well, may I just ask this one question, please? They're very methodical in their thinking. They understand things. And my reason why I'm doing what I do is because of the fact that my mother, when she gave birth to me, she dropped out of school when she was in the 7th grade. By the time she was in the 8th grade, she had 2 babies. When she had us, she lived in a home where her dad was a coal miner from West Virginia, and he was somewhat, and people always say he had some racial issues, and you know, he was prejudiced and all this stuff. But I say this all the time. I couldn't even understand I wouldn't be able to understand if my 13-year-old came home pregnant. You know what I mean? If my 14-year-old came home with 2 babies, and even though her children were by all black men, you know, they try to say, oh, he was racist because whatever. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Just put yourself in that situation that your child had to drop out of 7th grade to have children. And so, you know, she ended up living in a home with people who took care of her as a teenage mom. And every home we lived in after that, we lived in low-income housing. We were on welfare. And, you know, now it's flashy today. They have EBT cards. Back when I was growing up, it was food stamps. You're embarrassed if you have food stamps. You stand in the back of the store until the boyfriend you had a crush, the little boy you had a crush on left so you can get that little food stamp, right? And so I grew up in that. And I saw that. And I was a straight A student in school. Straight A student, gifted and talented class. But guess what? My mother never came to anything I ever had because she couldn't read. She couldn't read paperwork. I forged her name on everything. I didn't even want her to come because she embarrassed me so bad. I just wanted her to stay home and just never mind. Her boyfriend was very abusive, and you'll hear more about that later on. I'll talk to the kids. And he was a crack addict and a heroin addict. 1980s crack ravished my home. And 1980s and 70s crack and heroin destroyed the life that my brothers and I could have possibly had. But nevertheless, anyway, 13, I left home. And I became homeless at 13 because I hated home, and the streets were safer than home for me. Then I got pregnant. And everybody said this, you're going to be just like your mama. And I understand this now. This is why I do this. Because we are breaking negative generational patterns, right? We are causing children to not become prey to all the negative things that are out there looming and waiting for them that, you know, we only got exposed to a little bit. But because of all of the things that's happening out here in the WWW world, they see it all, and it's at a finger click on their cell phones. Because parents now can get a free I+7 from their carrier, and on that, you can't even put parental control on it because the kids know how to wipe it clean, get off of it, and they can do more with cell phones than we can do, to be honest, right? How many of you would be honest enough to say you go to your children and look up your stuff? You're right, all of your technical and technology, I call it technical, all right? I call it a problem. But anything I need done in my household, I give it to my 12-year-old. He's a genius. I give it to him. So 13, I left home and then I became a teenage pregnant mom. My boyfriend was a crack dealer. He was one of the biggest drug dealers in the city of Patterson, New Jersey. He was very abusive. I do what I do because I always say this, sir. I always say, I never want any baby to ever have to go through what I've gone through. If I could just stop, if I could just give them this, if I could just pull them out, if I could just help them, if I could just make them make better decisions, if I could just tell them what I went through, if I could preserve a life, if I could stand flat-footed in front of a room of 10,000 kids and say, don't do this, because if you do this, the results are the same for every single one of us in this room. There is no magic way out of this. If I tell you not to drive a Mercedes down the street because there's a flood, you won't drive it. So guess what? The same way you hook the U-turn in the middle of the street with that car, hook a U-turn in your life and don't go that way, because your life is far more valuable than a stupid little stinky car. Clap right there. That's a good place to clap. Y'all clap right there. So,
you know, you need more energy.
I got to turn it up, Bernadette. Next, I'm going to take my shoes off like I do with Georgia. Go to my Facebook page. You'll see I just take my shoes off and climb on top of chairs and stuff. The kids love it. But, and so, this is why I do what I do. So I came all the way here today to tell you this, and I'll only have a few minutes with you all because my main purpose was to children what Richard called me. He said, Yvonne, in the Richard way. Y'all know Richard's way, right? What if you, so yeah, we were just, no, he didn't ask me. He said, so we were thinking that you should probably come and speak during the day. I'm like, okay, yes, sir, I'll be here. The reason why I'm here is because I'm going to say this to you. Every time you show up, and I don't care where it is, even if you're sitting in a cubicle, any time you show up, you have to understand that you are showing up as someone else's hope. Every time you show up, you have to understand the far great. You got to understand what is expected from you does not come from your audience. What is expected of you comes from you. Because you have to say to yourself, I got to give more of myself. I got to be more true. I have to be more authentic because they're waiting for me to give them that. But if I walk away not doing it, I will not forget that moment. And I made it a point that every time I show up, guess what? I don't care what people think about me because that's like far in the back of my mind. I don't care how people are judging me on ads and none of that stuff. I leave giving 1,000% of myself because I say this. When the government says that only 36% of our kids are going to make it, before I get there, I say this. Not after I get finished with them.
All right.
So you show up as someone else's hope. And even if you work with crazy people, don't play. Y'all know y'all work. We work with cuckoo for cocoa. How many of y'all work with people who are schizophrenic? Bipolar, tripolar? Don't raise your hand if you're sitting next to them. He's looking at me. I often say to people that don't raise their hand, they're the ones that are. Just joking. So, how many of you will agree, though, that the fight is not with your plight, right? The fight isn't with what it is that you have in mind that you want to do. Most of the time, your fight is from other people who don't understand why you do what you do, right? And so the fight has to listen, and it gets draining. We get burned out. We don't even know what we're doing anymore because so much has been taken away from us. They slashed our budgets. They've taken stuff. We go home, some of us, and we are in frustrating situations with our spouse. Our kids, aliens, have abducted them. They were sweet at 1 through 8. Somehow, 9, 10, 11, all the way up to 28. The aliens need to bring them back. We're begging and pleading. You are not the child that I raised. Where is my little Joey? Right? Something happened. And so we got to go to work. We got to go to work because this is work, right? This is work. So we got to go to work with all of that on us. We got to go to work with when we stand and we have one decision on how our lives are going to pan out, and then we're faced with things that happen in our personal life, and we got to still be effective 1,000% because somebody's baby is contemplating suicide, because somebody is sitting here pregnant, they peed on the $1 pee stick from the pee store, I guess. I don't know what they get it for $1, but because I can't afford an EPT. I don't know about you. That's a commercial break. I can't afford an EPT. It's a lot of money, right? Wait a minute. And they're sitting in the bed, and they know that they're pregnant by, watch this, they're pregnant by their friend's boyfriend, or they have come to school And the night before, they have cut themselves from the wrist all the way up because for some reason, self-mutilation is coping. Because guess what? The Molly doesn't do it. The pill popping doesn't do it. The weed smoking doesn't do it anymore. They have, yes, become desensitized. They have become desensitized because the $200 we spend a month on the cell phone, with the Wi-Fi, with the cable, with all of that stuff has caused inappropriate things to come into our home. And they're seeing people being killed at a fast rate through video games. They're seeing blood, people's head being shot off. They're seeing women having sex with this one, spitting on that one because they're with their husband. They're seeing married women inviting other women in their bedrooms with their husband. They see it in their own home. And I stand and I tell them, just because it's common doesn't mean that it's right. And when you stand there, you got to stand with such conviction and such power that when they leave that room, they leave not as the same way they came, but they leave with, I wanted some, give them permission to shine. They were waiting for us to come. They were waiting for you to be there. They were waiting for you to talk. And you can't do it with this mediocre tempo. You can't do it coming in, speaking like me, if that's not your thing. You need to come in being your 100% true, authentic self, because nothing is communicated better than passion and purpose. And to be a leader, you don't have to be loud, but you have to be prolific and profound. That right there. Yeah. Bylaws have, you know, this is another commercial break. When I saw Richard speak for the first time, I was like, that's my brother from another mother. I was across the room high-fiving. He was saying, he was in a room full of board members and people who probably going to give him some money and stuff. And he had all this, then he turned it off. When he turned it off, it was like this emotion just swelled up in him. And I'm like, God, he's saying what I want to say. Yeah, to the little man in the back. Yes, you know, I'm saying, you know, it wasn't that he was speaking like me or in my tone. It was just what was coming out of him was agreeing with what I thought and I felt the entire time. And I was just wondering, is there anybody else in this room that is feeling that way besides me? And then I saw the people going up to him asking him a million more questions, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's very clear. And that's why we show up. We show up every single day because we realize that everything that's positive is being swept under the rug. That's right. We show up every single day because we know the negative entities that are out there. We don't have to go to church to know it. We don't have to go to mass. We don't have to go sit down somewhere in front of a leader to tell us. We know. We don't have to be extra political. We don't have to be any of that stuff to know what's positive and what's negative. There's something in us that checks and says, oh, it's not right for little 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds to do YouTube videos of them twerking. Yes. It's not right to go online and watch a group of kids stand by with video cameras beating up somebody, and while they're standing there not even trying to break the fight up, and somebody's being killed, a homeless person, they're punching people and knocking them out, they're punching and knocking out homeless people. There's something in us that says that's not right. So our voice is being smothered. So we have bullies thinking that it's cool to be bullies because that sells on social media, that sells on YouTube. And then our voice is being diminished because the people like us that have to show up every single day, we're contending against individuals who don't understand our plight. Yeah. They don't understand it. We got to make them understand it. Yeah. And the way we make is, we don't always have to fight. You don't have to fight. Show them. Put it in their face so that they can't deny it. And oh, watch this. Life is a way better teacher. You know what? I say people are living in silence and people are living in lies. Because most of the people who are going through half the stuff that's going on in this world is happening right in their own home. Because right now, the number one thing that's killing individuals is heroin and pills right now. And what's happening is individuals who have access to healthcare are getting those pills. And I'm talking about individuals who are taking things like oxycodone and Vicodin and all. They're getting that from the cabinets of their parents because they have healthcare. Now, the heroin is the poor drug, but it's happening in urban America, and it's happening in suburban America.
That's right.
And we have to know that there are people, that are places that are going through. Somebody told me this is happening. Did you tell me that, Ms. Bernadette? It's happening everywhere. She said it's not now no more. It's just one dynamic over here. It's happening everywhere. And we can't be silent. And we can't get burned out. and we can't be frustrated, and we can't let people make us retire early. We cannot give our torch to someone who doesn't have empathy for this generation. Because I tell people all the time, color doesn't matter, money doesn't matter. The only equalizer is pain. Pain hits everybody the same way. And when pain hits your life, it levels the playing field for everyone. And when you feel that pain, guess what? You have this one word, and it's called empathy. You become empathetic to someone when you go through the same thing they go through. You can sit down and say, oh, you had that surgery? I had that surgery. Oh my gosh, that surgery almost took me out. Oh my gosh, you're dealing with depression? Oh, I dealt with depression. And you have empathy, so you understand their mood changes. You understand why sometimes they're a little bit more lethargic when they come in. You understand maybe they don't want to be, they don't want to laugh and talk today because maybe this is a day that they just want to be solemn. They want to, they want to inflect. They want to kind of think about what it is that's going on in their lives. They want to process through their brain. You have empathy for them. And we have to make people be empathetic for this generation. And I don't care how much money people are making, capitalizing off of our children, we have to make sure they are protected. That is our right to protect our children. And I'm going to protect it until I take my last breath on this earth. You can clap right there. That's enough.
Yeah.
So I stand here today, and I'm almost done. Y'all can ask me some questions if you like me to. I ended up having a baby at 16, but that wasn't the first time I was pregnant. You'll hear that a little bit later on too. I mean, no, Richard, you probably don't even know this. I started sharing this part of my story when I walked into a county, and I won't say where it is, but in a state. I walked into the little place where they were holding a county meeting, and they said the epidemic had affected 8th grade girls. 50% of the 8th graders were pregnant. 50. I said, so, excuse me, maybe I'm hearing this wrong. Small county, I don't care, nevertheless. What? Then I got called to another county. Yvonne, please come, it's an epidemic. These kids are getting pregnant. I don't know if it's a pregnant game going on. We don't know what's happening, whatever. I go to the school, to the county meeting again. 70% of the high schoolers were pregnant, teenagers. They funneled money. The government, called it a state of emergency, sent money to hurry and rectify the situation. Here's what they were doing. They were trying to cover it up. What we do, we get to the root of the situation. See, when I was sitting here today taking notes when Linda and Jamal were talking, I'm like, I need to educate myself on this stuff, because if I'm going to talk to students who understand how this process works, and I don't understand how to communicate how this process works, I need to be able to know how this process works. And so when I was sitting there taking notes and writing stuff down, and they were asking questions in the session, and I'm writing their questions down and their answers down, I'm processing this information really, really fast, because I believe everything is intentional. I believe everything is intentional. Everything we do in life, it is important for us to know it is not a coincidence. It is something that's happening in that moment that we need at the time to hear, to see, or whatever, because the corresponding actions after this event that we're in right now, we're going to know why we went through this event right here, is because this event is coming. 13, I got pregnant. My mother was pregnant at 13. I had a miscarriage. I was a functioning alcoholic. I was out of the house homeless at 13. Having sex at 13. You know why? Not because I woke up and I had this addiction to porn, or I was addicted to sex. I was having sex because I needed somebody to love me, because I didn't know the name of my father. I was having sex because my stepfather was beating the skin off of my body when he couldn't get heroin. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? He was selling every food stamp in the house. And now, let me tell you what our babies are living in now. Now, both parents are addicted to heroin now. Both parents are addicted to heroin. You got 6th, 7th, and 8th graders living in the house watching their mothers turn tricks. You got individuals now who are so messed up from prescription drugs. The parent is just laying in the bed, comatose all day. The 7th grader has to take care of the 2nd grader, the 1st grader, and then the high schooler is as high as the parent. You know what I'm saying? The reason why our kids are sending naked pictures online, because they are hoeing. That's the reason why they call them hoes. They are expecting money for Snapchats. They're expecting money for Instagram pictures of themselves uncovered. Sex trafficking in Georgia is nearly at an all-time high as it is in a developing country. trafficking in the state of Georgia.
Third biggest international crime.
Third biggest international crime. We got little girls who say this. This is what they say. This is what they say. This is why we do. This is why we do what we do. We got little girls saying this. I'm gonna be a stripper. Because you don't understand. Strippers on that come up right now. Strippers are the business. Strippers make that money. Strippers. Man, I ain't trying to work nowhere at McDonald's 9 to 5. Not when I can strip and make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in one night. This is the mindset of our babies in a progressive, aggressive, hypersexual world that we live in. Hold up, let me just pause and do another commercial. Our husbands and wives are getting entrapped and snared in because when we go home, we are too burned out from work to have sex with them anymore. Because we are too burned out to go home and sit down and have a coffee with our spouses and go out on dates with them. Our own spouses in our home are getting addicted to this stuff. The same stuff that we are fighting to stop. Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we are not exempt. Not one of us in this room, because I can tell you if you ever had to write something about your life and document how you're feeling or what you just went through 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, you will probably tell me some things that has happened in your own mind, in your body that you had to deal with and still show up and produce. 1,000%. And I showed up all the way from Georgia. Well, this little Jersey girl that lives in Georgia. To let you know that when you show up, don't you ever diminish your position. Don't you ever diminish where you come from. Don't you ever diminish your story. If you choose to tell it, don't do it. Because when you say it, you gotta know who you're saying it to, the audience that you're speaking to, and not come in from a little place of caution because you think they've not heard it. These babies are hearing it every day and seeing it. My 12-year-old son told me that the little boys on the bus were showing him how to masturbate. 12. He showed, now this is a straight A student. My son is a straight A student. He's never earned a B a day in his life. He knows he's going to Oxford, England to study. He wants to be a physicist. He knows that only makes up 1% of the world. He told me straight up, I know. He said, I'm going to make myself so marketable that they can't tell me no. He's in the top 5% in the United States of America in reading. Top 5% in the nation. He's a young black boy. He's a young boy of color. So it's important for you to know that that's not like, the norm from where I'm from. He's probably been for the first or the last 4 years, the only young black man in his class, but the top in every subject. Top in reading in our county, top in math in our county. Scored the highest in every standardized test they could give him. He's reading on a college level. He was invited to Duke University when he was in the 4th grade.
Wow.
Never gives us problem. Never. We only had to discipline him once in his 12 years of living. He is very conscious. He is right in the moment at all times. He sees the stress and the struggle. He knows that our jobs are very hostile. He sees the line. My baby, he'll stand with me. He'll see the line of teenagers that stand at the door waiting for me to ask me questions, to hug me, to break. Gang members with all types of tattoos all over their faces, and they have never filled out an application. Some 21 years old. Don't even know how to read or write. He's seen that, so he's like, I'm never going to put stress on you, mommy. I know that you're working stressful. Are you working stressful? Even my 25-year-old, they were always, mommy comes home, let's let her sleep for a couple of days because she's been up for a couple of days, right? Daddy is taking care of us. That's okay. We'll take him for now. We'll wait for her to wake up and then, tell her what he didn't do, right? He understands it. But he's on this bus going from school to home. And little boys are in the back pulling up people masturbating. What? I relocated. How many of y'all be honest? I relocated to preserve the life of my children.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Can I just be honest with you?
Yeah.
My life is all about self-preservation. I haven't smoked, drink, used drugs, used profanity in 20 plus years. I'm trying to walk this thing. It's not in my house. Nobody drinks in my house. My husband doesn't drink. My husband has never never, ever touched a drink. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do drugs. He is a United States Marine. You know what he told me one day? He said, baby, when I was in the Marine Corps, he said, everybody would try to make me take drinks. He said, even the person who was over me, my boss, he said, I order you to drink. He said, guess what? I'll change this whole Marine Corps before I take one sip. You know why? No judgment to anybody that does drink. I'm not saying that. That's his personal one. And he made sure that nobody would change that. We created this environment for our children to thrive.
That's right.
Right? We created this atmosphere. I changed my life because I didn't want my kid. I have a 25-year-old son. I look good, don't I? Hey. The kids tell me all the time, I'll be hitting all the time. I'm like, I know how to dance, you know what I mean? I'm a true dancer. I really know how to dance. Like, real. I know how to dance. I do the whole face expression dance, you know what I mean? Then we get real good, you gotta do that ugly feet. You know? I'm that type of dancer, right? So my 25-year-old son,
Fabulous.
he's an amazing kid. He is. But he's not exempt either. We're not exempt. And we do what we do still. Despite our children's decisions, regardless of what our kids are exposed to, regardless of how we're feeling, I can tell you, traveling has beat this good-looking 43-year-old up. I look real good. I'm 43-year-old. Don't make me look great. Hey. 25. Thank you, Linda. I take that. I've gained 40 pounds. Yeah, it's all right. I'll talk about it later. But it doesn't make me exempt. As a matter of fact, it puts me in the line of fire. As a matter of fact, I have a target on my back. So do you. We have a target on our back because we're trying to penetrate this invisible field that is somehow pulling our children in, like this big force, this big vacuum that's suctioning our children in and making them think that it's their thing and they can do whatever it is that they want to do with their thing. And they are not thinking about the consequences of what that thing might have. We are fighting against everything in us that we know is wrong. Everything that we see, we know is wrong. We're trying to help pull people this way. And every time we do, somebody keeps throwing something on us, some law, something. Don't say that. You're offending this person. You're offending that person. You're going to bring offense to this person. You say this, they're not going to like you. You're showing your true colors. Every time we say, because this is kind of crazy to me. So everybody else can say what it is that they like and they can be free in their freedom of speech. But when we operate in our First Amendment and we want to walk in our amendments, and we can't, because why? Because we're not like everybody else. You are the first line of attack. And I know you feel it. And I know, because see, it doesn't have to be with the kids that you work with. Because guess what? They're always sweet, kind, and loving most of the time. Yeah. The problem is the crazy grown folks that you got to work with. The ones that try to defame you. The ones that try to destroy your character and your reputation. The ones that try to miscommunicate your brand. The ones that always want to be very confrontational. Everything is an argument. And then you get drained, you get tired, you get burdened, you get burned out, you get frustrated. Then you go home to problems. Maybe you don't have enough money to pay your mortgage. Maybe you're going through some kind of crazy stuff that just happened in the last 5 to 6 years in your life. And you're like, I can't even believe this is happening to me right now. You show up as someone else's hope. And I'm not telling you hypocrisy. I'm telling you what I live every day. I come home from off the road and I may have $10,000 worth of damages that happened to my house because the toilet bowl flooded on the second floor. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? I might go to a basic doctor visit and all of a sudden I have to go home and lay down for 30 minutes because I have a sciatic nerve that's going crazy, a knee that's out of joint and out of whack. She wants me to take all this crazy medication where I'm walking around the house like, woo, woo. So I go on the road with the pain and the aches, and then I'm in the hotel room like this. Save me down, right? It's the reality for all of us in this room. That no matter what, stay on your game. Stay on your game, because it's not a joke anymore. I'm not going to shut up. People may try to make me shut up. I'm just gonna find ways to say it, but it's still gonna be the truth. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? People try to shut me down and oh, she's just a little high school dropout, ex-weed junkie, whatever, from Patterson, New Jersey. I'm like, great, I can relate to the whole world now. You hear what I'm saying to you? Right. When they try to say, oh, she just went to Passaic County Community College in Patterson, you know, where all that gang stuff happens. That's right, and I'm proud of it because I was the first person in middle school to graduate in my family, first person in high school, first person in my family to graduate high school, first person in my family to go to college, to work in a company for over 11 years, receiving nearly 10 promotions, to now have 2 businesses, travel internationally with 5 books, and granted, I don't write novels, 65 pages at best, but it's still a book, and I'm still an author. Don't let anybody diminish you. Don't let anybody steal your story, take away your stance. Don't let them belittle you, and don't let them judge you, because guess what? They're not letting you judge them. For sure. And make sure when you show up, you know that you are showing up as somebody else's hope. In closing, I'm for real, I'm done right now. I tell my teenagers this, Jamal, this has been my signature thing that I've been sharing for the last several years, because 30% of my students in the classroom, they dumb down for other students. 30% of them dumb down. You know why? It's not popular to make A's. Because most of their friends are not. So they try to get in the middle somewhere. Comfort zone, we call it. Right? And they're complacent. And they take this backseat mentality because they don't want, because here it is. Greatness is controversial. Are you agreeing with me on that one? When you set out to do something great, nobody's going to understand you because it's crazy. It's never been done before. The people that do it, they have to go here, they're doing this, whatever. Listen, when I saw a little, can I just be 100% with you? When I saw Richard talking up in the front of the room, somebody who's not from Patterson, New Jersey, addressing our children and the pastors and the people who work in our community who I thought were leaders, when I saw him, I was like, whoa, this man is on fire. But watch this. I said, you know what? I wonder if anyone in this room knows how brave he really is. It's the first thing that I thought. When I saw him taking children from out of an inner city and bringing them on retreats to teach them about abstinence, something I was never taught. No one ever taught me that. Are you kidding me? I was being told, do it, because if you don't, he will leave you. And he was educating my community. I had something rose up in me, this righteous indignation rose up in me, and I said, I don't know whoever team this man is on, but I want to be on his team. This little girl saw something in him that stirred fire in me. So don't let anybody diminish you, because you give people permission to shine. And if people can't handle your shine, let me tell you how I tell those kids and the students that dumb down. You don't diminish your shine for nobody. That's why I'm more shiny right now. These colors are shiny. Wait till you see what I put on later. It's over the top. I go over the top of kids. I disrespect grown-ups. This is my grown-up respect suit. Right, my thing? I told you I respect y'all. I come up here with jeans on, you kidding me? I respect y'all. I tell my students this. I'm like, yo, if people can't handle your shine, that's a personal problem. I'm not going to stop being me for people. I mean the good me. Now call me out if you see me going crazy. But I'm not going to stop doing what's right because people can't handle it.
That's right.
I'm not going to dumb down because you're offended because I'm good at what I do. You work with people that are mad at you because you're so good at what you do. Have you met people like that before?
Yeah.
You don't do that. You don't do that. If people can't handle your shine. You stay great. You don't diminish, you don't dumb down, you don't water down. If they can't handle your shine, tell them to put some shades on. That's it, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to my... Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you, and I do want to say this from the bottom of my heart. I salute you for the work that you're doing. I don't have a platform without people like Richard and you guys that are in the room right now. I can't continue to get the message out of hope and inspiration without people like you who are standing in the gap. You are the forces. I fly in, I fly out. You stay. And that's important. And so please don't get tired. Don't get weary. Do what you do. And every day just have one of those pep talks with yourself in the mirror like, come on, girl. Come on. You got this. And then do the ugly cry. Do the ugly cry, because we got to do the ugly cry. You know what the ugly cry is? I can't believe. Do it. Get it out. Just get it all out. I did one the other day. Feels good. Get it out. Guys cry too. Y'all do. Don't bite. Y'all didn't say anything.
That was 2 days ago.
Yeah, right. Me too. Do the ugly cry. Get it out. And once you get that ugly cry out, you're good. You're good. Put your, in Georgia we say put your big girly panties on. I'm like, just pull them up and just.
Just do it. Just do it.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
I appreciate y'all. I know y'all want to go to lunch.
Anyway, if you're not fired up now, you're hopeless.
You got nothing for us, right?
Anyway, I'm so happy that Yvonne was able to come up, and to me, it's not often that we get this kind of like reflection actually on what our motivation is and the struggles that we have to step up for the young people, right? And I just love you, Yvonne. We all love you.
I love you.
Okay.
I love you. Don't make me cry. I'm gonna cry, baby.
Well, she's got to be the first member of your fan club for sure.
And I'm
the second one.
Okay. This is the first, because I meant to say both of them.
So anyway, I think this is very important actually because, teaching kids about abstaining, who does that, right? Which one of us, when we were young, said, oh, I want to teach young people to not have sex? I never thought about that. Right, but we're,
That's a thing.
we probably did not choose this. We were kind of drafted into it, right?
Or fell into it.
Yeah.
You just fell.
Yeah. So, okay.
Richard,
Yeah.
may I ask a question of the
Sure.
board?
Yeah.
So, you are super effective, and I have no doubt that the kids are just gonna, be spellbound by what you're sharing. The subtitle of what we have on our paper here is taking charge of your media diet, right? So in your experience, you deliver this fairly hard message. It's countercultural, right? It is counter everything that they believe in. Share with us a little bit about how, like the immediate response to what you say. What do they give back? Do they push back, or do they really just let it sink in?
Oh, they let it. Let me just tell you guys what I do to give you just a high-level overview of a little bit more what I do with the children. I'm typically called in to do like high school. It doesn't matter. High school assembly programs or pretty much any and every place where you see kids gather together. They ask me to come and do some things. So the first thing I do is I ask the school for an objective list, and I tell them, be honest with me. Tell me what's going on in your school. And so they give me like this nice little high-level, not high-level overview, I'm sorry. They give me like this nice little bullet point of what it is that the children are dealing with. Most of the time it's always social media, it's always bullying, of course, and then it's alcohol, drugs, and teen pregnancy. Those are always, that's it. That's like top five. And so I'll typically go in and share my story in depth. And then once I start telling them, my story, in the middle of the story, I will stop. And I will start looking at them right in their little faces, telling them what I know about what's really going on, not the bullet points, but what I really know what's going on here. I won't ever ask them to raise their hand about personal messages or anything like that, but I always want them to, make sure that they're keeping what it is that I'm saying at the forefront of their mind, but I'm making it very personal to them. And then after the fact, when it's all said and done, we talk about social media, I give them solutions. What do you need to do? Now that I told you all of this, what should you be doing with your social media? So your social media is basically an online resume about yourself. Everybody's going to be looking at what you put out there. What you put out there is either going to help you or hurt you. You need to make sure personal things remain personal. If you're fighting through something, you don't want to put all that stuff out there. I teach them how to have healthy friendships with individuals, that they are not too needy and clingy to, boys and girls and all that other stuff. And I oftentimes share with them, again, just based on my own personal experience, but I also give them solutions, because that's the one thing. A motivational speaker can come in and we can share our story, but then the kids walk away and they don't have anything real tangible thing that they can start doing right away. So I talk to them about 3 things that they can do right away. First thing is this, okay? Anybody that's in your life that doesn't enhance the quality of your life, you need to begin cutting those individuals off. I don't care if they're best friends, I don't care if they're sitting next to you, I don't care if they're in the back. And I said, if you are somebody that's making bad decisions, you can start making good decisions, because here's what I did. When I was drinking, when I was smoking, when I was doing all of these things, I had to make a conscious conscious effort. I had to make sure I made myself accountable to other people. I had to find one grown-up that I could be very transparent with and share, and they would not tell on me, or I wouldn't get in trouble, because if you tell a mom and a dad, most likely they're probably going to, you know, be so going crazy because they're in denial that you're doing these things. They don't want to hear that, and you probably won't want to tell them until you're out of it. You know what I mean? Or you know, if you're not doing crazy stuff. I'm not talking about, you know, individuals who suffer from addiction or anything, or abuse or anything like that. And then I start talking to them about, you know, really confiding in grown-ups, really confiding in their people who are at their school who are resources, letting them know that they can find me online, letting them know that they can go to other websites and get help, they can go to different places. So we have a big thing that we do. They come up to me and they talk to me, and you would be surprised. This is the new stuff that's going on. You would be surprised at how many children, with the whole pornography situation is going on, the kids that are independent, they're so young and they're having to take care of themselves. And then the other thing would be, I just lost that thought, the cutting.
Yeah.
The cutting it's happening a lot now. And those are the things that I'm learning how to address and how to deal with. But I find that most of them, can I just be honest with you guys, they just want somebody to come in and give them the truth. It's like they don't really want to do this stuff anymore. And they're so smart. Can I tell you, they're not like us. Like, we're dumb. It took us a long time to get, you know, do certain things. They're so smart that when you tell them, they leave like, okay, you came and you told me and I was doing this, and I mean, they start telling me stuff that they were doing, and then they say, I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm like, really? You didn't need a counselor? You know, right? Yeah. But reality is, please, I promise you, adults, because we are a little bit more stuck in our ways and we don't like to change, it's a little harder for us to take a message and really implement it in our life unless we get that, you know, unless we're keep going back to the fountain, the stages. The kids, they're not. You can give them one word just like this, they get it, and they go and change. Now, all of them, no. I don't ever walk out of my sessions saying this. Well, if only one person got it, I did good. That's poor statistics. That means I'm not talking to 1 million people. I mean, come on, but I don't want that. You know, I don't want 1 out of 1,000 to get it. So I walk out thinking to myself, I'm going to pour every piece of me out. I'm going to give them everything I have. I'm going to give them solutions. I'm going to give them resources and information. I'm going to give them places where they can go and find additional help. And then I'm going to tell them who should be their friends and what they should be doing, how they can wait. Oh, here's the big one. Now, this is how we teach abstinence in Georgia. I go in, I do self-preservation, and this is very important, especially in my community where I'm from. It's called self-control. I tell them stuff like this. This is what I tell them. I say, you mean to tell me that it takes the government to come in here and call you an animal, say that you can't control yourself, that you have to continually take your penis out of your pants and you got to continually put it in some woman and you got to keep doing this and doing that? I said, that's like I'm coming up in here telling you have no control over you. Let me turn to him. You know, because I talk to, I talk to a large community of young black men. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, so that means that you're telling me right now you have no self-control. You can't control yourself. You're just like an animal, so I got to put you in a cage now. Ooh. When I say that to them, you should see them, you know, they get revved up and they're like, what? You know, and then they start, you know, the young ones that like sitting like this are scared because I'm addressing them head on. When I start saying to them, it takes the government to say that you, whatever, and then they put you, look, then you have to stay in these little confined areas that are completely heavily concentrated with a whole bunch of people, and they have to monitor your behavior every single month, and they ration you out little pieces of money. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And they say, you can't handle it because you don't have self-control. Neither did your mother, neither did your father. Wow. And they sit there like, I said, now, how many of you want to go? You know, and I start asking them, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I make them tell me, because no one has ever asked them, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to become? What is it that you like? Your dreams. What are your dreams? And they start sitting, I'm like, no, look at me. And it's everywhere though. It's not just in those, I'm just using this as an example, but I don't think that, you know, I guess my mindset is a little different because when I walk out of places, I want to believe, because this is the thing that keeps me 1,000% fresh and relevant. I want to believe that every person I'm talking to hears me, understands me, and takes something away. Because everybody is listening from a different place, even us. Yep. You know, and so I hope I answered your question, Ms. Bernadette.
Fabulous.
Yes.
And then some. Thank you.